patrol.
Jennifer Stanley, James Worthman, Jennifer Wingate, Nina Stone, Robert Black, David Scott, John McPhail, Craig Lavender, Misty Hall, Crystal Holstein, Jamie Hodges, Michael Hockenberry, Candace Sargent, Jason Eastep, Wayne Crawford, John Carpenter, Stephen Burton, Jason Arthur, Matthew Gant, now I read from up to Stacey Boyd, Heather Burton, Eric Cavendish, Brandon, go. Mrs. Hammock, Sean Harvey, Billy Lively, Travis Hudnall, Deanna Workman, Matthew Wilson, Gene Webb, Danny Scalise, Amanda Sands, Joey Pomeroy and Anthony Pomeroy, Jennifer Napier, Eric Mitchell, Stephen Green, who was our lieutenant this year, Maggie Wolf, who was our captain this year, one of our captains, and Jason Kirk. I hope all you fifth graders remember that next year will be your turn. It's been a real honor for these kids to be on patrol. I think they really enjoy themselves. It's a job, but it's something that each one of them was involved in. Just about every one of our sixth graders is involved. This, you have to keep up your grades for and also keep down those merits. So let's give them all a hand. They're doing a job. I'd like to have Stephen Stone and Matthew Gant come back up here just a minute. First semester, Matthew Gant was a lieutenant for the patrol. And this last semester,
semester, Dina Stone has been the captain, and she's done a very fine job. So let's give these two an extra hand.
Now we would like to give out the attendance awards. We're only giving out our perfect attendance today. And I had 2 students in my classroom who missed 0 days this year. They are Joey Pomeroy and Billy Lively.
In my homeroom were present every single day, and I think that's quite an accomplishment. James Workman, Misty Hall, Matthew Gant, and Wayne Crawford.
Next, we have some certificates that were given to our students for participating in the Social Studies Fair, the Kanawha County Social Studies Fair. We're real proud of some of our kids who placed down there, and it's a real accomplishment. If you've ever been down to the Social Studies Fair and looked at the project, it's a real accomplishment just to place there, just to even go there. And we're very proud of these students. We had, in my classroom, a 3rd place finish. That was Stephen Green and Jennifer Napier. These two developed a science project. Stephen, tell us what it was about. Acid rain. You got work. Stacy Boyd and Dina Stone had an honorable mention. Their project was on the Renaissance, Capitol Street Renaissance. We'd like these two to come forward and receive their certificates. These 2 students were also from my room. They got to go down to the Kanawha County Fair. They didn't place, but they both had excellent projects. They did excellent speeches, and I'm real proud of them also. That's Brandon Good and Jean Webb.
Two young ladies from my room did an excellent project on church from Peterborough, Jennifer Wingate and Jennifer Stanley. They received an honorable mention at the county fair. 2 other students who were winners in the school and were able to take their project into the Civic Center for the county fair were Matthew Gant and Craig Lavender, and they had an excellent
part of our program, and that's our certificates and our trophies. Mr. Sands and I were talking this morning, and if we could give trophies for every area that we've written down today, we would. We had the money and the funds to do it. But it costs a lot of money to put on one of these awards today. These certificates, to me, mean just as much as these trophies, and I hope the kids realize that. These qualities that we picked out exemplify everything good. And a lot of these kids are some of the best kids you'd ever want. Their grade point averages may not be the highest, but they are some of the best kids you'd ever want to be. Generous, helpful, thoughtful, cheerful. All these things we tried to encompass in our certificates today. And we're just very proud of all these students. In our first category, this category is one, these are the kids you can always depend on whenever you need something done. They're always asking. Usually I don't have to ask them. They're always there when I need them. Anything I need done in the room, to run an errand, any type of thing that Mrs. Sands and I would ask of them, they're always ready, willing, and able to help. These are the most helpful. Matthew Wilson, please hold your applause. I'd like for them all to stand up here and then you can give them a round of applause for them all right. Daisy Boyd. Eric Mitchell. Deanna Workman. Matthew Moore, Will Cottle, Candace Garden, and James Work. Real proud of all these kids.
With the exposure of the media to a world not relying a lot on manners and being polite, we added a new category this year, and these were the students that were the most polite during the year. They were the ones that would say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and remember to say please, and never had, unkind words to say. So these students were Bobby Doug, Wayne Crawford, Jamie Hodges, Crystal Holstein, and Bobby Flack. Our next category always makes me want to laugh because these children know the most humor. I tell you, we've had some pistols this year, that's for sure. Never dull moments. Never. I think a lot of the kids know who they are, and they're just one of the reasons it brightens up the room every day because of their smiles. Even when you're feeling bad about something, these kids are always got something good to say. Always have a smile on their face, and I'm real proud of them. They would come forward and stand up here, please. Billy Lively. Travis Hudnall. And this is one of the pistols I was talking about. Russell Cooper. Another. And I'll tell you, this one got me more than one time. Greg Lavin. The next category are for the students who are considered by Mrs. Phillips and myself as being the most generous. They were always willing to share the things that they had, and also to share their time to help the other students. Some students, after they earned money for their 6th grade trip, went ahead and earned money for other students, and this is very commendable. The students that we chose as most generous were Crystal Holstein, Amanda Sands, Jennifer Napier, and Deanna Workman. I'm holding Crystal here because she's also the one student who outdid all the others in salesmanship on the projects for the 6th grade trip.
I talked about some kids beforehand who didn't maybe make the grade point averages, but they were some of the hardest workers that I've ever seen. They tried no matter what kind of difficulties they came against. And these kids are to be commended. If I could have given them straight A's, I would have, because they worked as if they were trying to make straight A's, and I'm just really proud of these kids. They are Sean Harvey, Mike Hockenberry, Jamie Hodges, Dina Stone, Bobby Slack. A lot of these kids made excellent grades. Everything you always asked them to do, they were hard working at, and we're real proud of them.
Every day, as Mrs. Phillips and myself enter the classroom, we could always count on a few students to always come into the room with a very cheerful attitude. No matter what was going on, they always saw the upbeat on things. And how wonderful it is to look back through a class of students and see some cheerful faces. Bobby does. Mary Cavendish. Stephen Burton. Jason Estep. Michael Hockenberry.
Also very important for them. This is the most improved. Really having a rough time, getting in trouble a lot, not making grades, and other things we won't mention. But I'll tell you, some of these kids have made the biggest turnaround, and I can just really see them being very successful in the 7th grade because of this turnaround, and I'm very proud of them. Anthony Pomeroy. Anthony, say up here, please. Keith Huffman. And Dina Stone. Of course, Dina's not so much for getting in trouble, but Dina is one that Mrs. Sands recognized as gaining a lot of confidence this year in herself. And she's really done a good job with everything, being control and everything she's had to do. Kids, they've done anything that I've asked them to do and more. And 6th grade is really going to miss a couple of them. Thank goodness one of them's going to be around in a few more years, and at least one of my mothers. But we're really going to miss these two because they've, not only in the 6th grade, but every year they've been here, they've just really been a big asset to Cheylan Elementary School. Brenda Napier. Andy Green. And Pam Webb.
The homeroom mothers who were most helpful to my class this year were Joyce Burton, and Beverly Carpenter.
Now we'll begin with the trophies. These smaller trophies there's more of them, as you can see, as there are large ones, because we have more categories. In each subject area this year, we averaged grades, Mrs. Sands and I, down to the last grade that we took in our grade book, at least as far as we could go with it, and we came up with, in each subject area, 1 or 2 people that had really excelled and had the highest grade point average in that area. We want to begin today with our Reading Achievement Award. In reading, we cross-group. So therefore, this student is from Mrs. Sands' room, but I've had her all year for reading, and I've truly enjoyed her. With a 92% for the entire year, which is a very high grade point average. Dina Stone.
And the group for which I chose the person with the highest reading achievement was from a group that was working in, well, they almost finished the 7th grade reader. We went through the entire 6th grade reading book this year and most of the way through the 7th grade reading book. And the person with the highest average, which is a 96, was Jamie Hodges.
Spelling achievements next. I have 2 awards, both of them young men. They had 97%, which you know how high that is. 100's perfect. They did an excellent job this year in spelling. One of them was my spelling bee champion, and I doubt they've missed maybe more than 2 or 3 words on a test all year long. They are Gene Webb and Eric Mitchell.
Craig Lavender was our representative to the county spelling bee. He also had the highest average in spelling in my room. He only missed 2 words. This was a 99 average, actually. Craig.
English is a tough subject to master, and we had one young man this year who really did an excellent job in English. With a 94%, which is an A average for the entire year, Gene Webb.
Being able to master the written English language is very important for students, especially as they go into the business world. And Craig Lavender had the highest average with a 95%.
Science was a subject I averaged together instead of separate. We had 3 semesters of health. 1 semester was not really a counted grade. And science has really been a tough year with it. We have new books, new tests. Students can account for it. It's really been a tough year. But I tell you, I've had 2 kids with 99% for the entire year. Gene Webb and Steve Green.
In my room with a 94% was Craig Lavender in science. Because of the high averages that these 2 students had, I counted health and science separately. And I had 1 student with a 97.5 and 1 with a 97% in health. And this is Matthew Gant and Jamie Hodges.
Social studies is our next area. We study world history and social studies. Some of the kids will attest it. Sometimes it's not the most interesting thing in the world, but I think they've really learned a lot this year. And it seems to me every day they come in and tell me something they saw on the news about what we were reading in class, and that really thrills me to hear that they recognize things when they hear about them. This one is a repeater. He's been up here before. His name is Gene Webb, social studies.
Students had a very close average in social studies. Jamie Hodges and Craig Lavender. They were only like 4 10%.
We split up the writing this year into 2 categories. One is penmanship, and one is creative writing. We decided they're 2 really different areas. The 2 young ladies that I recommended for the writing award, best handwriting, not the creative writing part of it, but the best handwriting. I tell you, they can outdo me any day. That's for sure. You all know about my handwriting. They are Heather Burton and Maggie Wolf.
In many cases, it's very important for a person to set a good impression by their handwriting. So all year long, I tried to stress to the students how important it was to have legible handwriting. And the one young lady in my room whose handwriting was just beautiful was Misty Hall. For creative writing, this is another category. Someone who can sit down and write an interesting story and make it so if you use proper English, the handwriting's legible, all these things put together make a creative writing person. I have one young lady who does a good job with her story writing. Her name is Missy Hammond. Creative writing was one of the toughest areas I had to select a person as being to achieving more than the other students, because I had many students in my room who were quite good at creative writing. But as I looked through their work that I had saved, their stories and other things, I decided that Craig Lavender deserved this trophy. This next category, I didn't have to average grades. I only had to look at the artwork that my students had produced this year to see who would win this trophy. I have two young men that I think could go a long way with their artistic ability. They are interested in it. I hope they pursue it when they get in junior high and high school. They're just excellent drawers. Their names are Joey Pomeroy and Anthony Pomeroy. A lot of my students were quite creative with their artwork. But as I judged this particular award, I looked for that little extra, the perspective, the little extra detail, the added imagination. And I decided that Jason Arthur and James Workman in mathematics, like reading, we cross groups. And this year I have the high and the high average grouping. And I'll tell you, I had some really good math students. This young man represented the 6th grade at the math field day. He represented it in the 5th grade also, and I'm not sure, maybe the 4th grade too. He's one of the best, I'll tell you. He challenges me every day. His name's Craig Lavender. Okay, I worked with the average math group, and I had two students whose averages were very close. They had an 86%. They were Dina Stone and Jennifer Wingate. Music ability. This one is one I know little about, not much. But this young man, I've heard nothing but good things about. I know he's made the A band this year already. He's an excellent drummer, and I hope he goes far with it. His name's Stephen Green. I have two trophies to give for music, and this is not my strong field myself, so I relied on the band instructor to help me select these. We have John McPhail and Matthew Gant. These next two trophies I rely on Mr. Gaffney to help me with. It is about the outstanding athlete, girl and boy. I've not had to take Jim with them very often, but the games I have played with them, there's two of them that really stand out above the rest. One of them is a basketball player for our girls' team this year. Her name's Heather Burton. And the other one is also a basketball player for Shillian. His name's Brandon Goode. fit and being a good athlete are so important today because so many of our young people fall far behind the president's fitness requirements. Misty Hall, who's a basketball player, and Stephen Burton.
This next trophy, I think, is one of the most important to me, and I have 7 of them up here. They are my children who have made the honor roll for all 9 weeks. They're going to be treated this evening also, but I tell you, there's not much. The grade point average is so high anymore. To make a B or an A, you really have to excel. And these students were kept on the honor roll the entire year. They are, would you stand up here so I give you your trophies, please? Jean Webb, Stephen Green, Jennifer Napier, Maggie Wolf, Heather Burton, Misty Hammock, and Danny Scalise. Give them a big hand.
Sixth grade requirements of education are very difficult and different from those in the 5th grade. In my room, I had 3 students who achieved the honor roll all year, and I had 5 others that missed it by just 9 weeks for just a few points. They all also need to be commended. But those 3 were Jamie Hodges, Matthew Gant, and Craig Lavender.
New one this year. I told my students from the beginning of the year that I thought the person who read the most books should receive an award at awards day, and I tell you, they did a really good job for me. My reading group, some of them are not the fastest readers in the world, but I tell you, they've done an excellent job. They were so close that I decided I had to give the other 2 something. There's 3 little girls. Deanna Workman was my winner, and the 2 others read 1 less book than her. They were Crystal and Dina Stone. Crystal Holstein and Dina Stone. Deanna was my champion with 32 books. These guys read 31.
It seems like every time we got ready to do a different subject, I found one little girl always with her nose in the book, always reading all the time. And she also read the most library books this year, like Jennifer Wingate coming up this week.
These next 2 awards I give in my room, all year on Friday, using my math group, we play a game. We play combo and we play target and different types of math games to reinforce the skills that were being taught. And also, we had spelling bee once a week. These 2 trophies I keep track of year-round. One young man, I don't know how many spelling bees he won altogether, but he was 8. He was our winner in the room this year. His name's Eric Mitchell. And the math game winner, this young man is a better combo player than probably I've had in a long time. He can do mental math in his head, big problems, and he's really good at it. His name's Stevie Bird.
The entire year, we counted the merits for the students, and also each day we counted up which students received the least demerits. In other words, they followed all the rules. I had 2 students in my room who had 0 demerits. They were Jamie Hodges and Bobby Black.
with 0 demerits for the entire year. One of them got a few demerit erasures, and I don't think one of them had any the entire year. Both of them are two of the most well-mannered, best-behaved young men I've ever had in my classroom, and it's been a privilege and an honor to teach to them this year. Their names are Sean Harvey and Eric Mitchell. Our next trophy is the most merits. This young man, I think he won the merit contest maybe all but 1 month this year. Not only did he receive merits for good work, but in any area he could get them in. He loved rolling the merits up, and he did an excellent job this year. His name is Stephen Green.
Craig Lavender's excellent academic work earned him this trophy of having the most merits for his classroom. Had a little contest going in our room for about the past 6 weeks, I think it is. All my students know what it is. Most of you probably don't know what we're talking about. If you're parents of one of these students, you probably know because you've probably been working on the sheets with them. It's been a trivia contest. I tell you, it was so funny, too, the last incident we had with them. Danny Scalise's group and Gene Webb's group was tied for the winning awards today. And Danny, he blamed Travis for losing his. He blamed Amanda for losing her sheet. They were going to lose points because they didn't have their sheet. Called home. Mom wasn't there. Neighbor wasn't there. Finally got someone to go into the house, find the trivia sheet, and Pam Webb ended up bringing it down to me, who was mother of the other team that was winning. It's been really ironic, I'll tell you. But these two groups, they worked on 6 sheets, and these sheets are not easy. They're very difficult. They have to find all kinds of things in the library and all kinds of different reference sources. And these two groups have not missed one question on these past 6 sheets we've done. We had to have a tiebreaker today to see who was going to be the winning group. And I'll tell you, one group only missed 3, the other missed 0 on this last sheet. They really have done a good job. I've done the trivia sheets in past years, but I've never had a whole group of children to really get involved so with them. I hope they've learned to use the library and find things in it by working on these sheets. My first place group, the group leader was Gene Webb, Bobby Dawes, Jason Kirk, and Mary Cavendish. And I couldn't let that second place team go with nothing after all the hard work they went through to get those sheets here at school. Danny Scalise was our group leader. Heather Burton, Travis Hudnall, Amanda Sands.